Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome, everyone, to a deep dive into a story that honestly feels like it could have happened last week, even though it's ancient.
It really does.
Today, we're exploring a narrative from the Buddhist commentaries. It's called Cūḷekasāṭakavatthu. That means the story of the little one garment.
Right. It's from the Dhammapati.
Yeah.
And you shared these sources with us, which is great because they offer this incredibly practical lesson.
Yeah, exactly. So our mission really for this deep dive is to get right into this very human story. We'll meet the characters, understand this pivotal moment that happens.
And really pull out the core teaching. It's all about the timing of our good intentions, why acting fast matters, and, what happens if we put things off.
Right. So the key players are Cūḷekasāṭaka himself, his wife, who's amazing in her own way, the Buddha, of course, who's sometimes called Satta or Tathagata in the texts, and King Pasenadi of Kosala, who plays a pretty big role too.
So let's start with Cūḷekasāṭaka. He's living in Savatthi. This is back when the Buddha was teaching there.
And the sources mentioned there was someone before him, Mahakasaka, great one garment.
Yeah, so our guy's name, Cūḷekasāṭaka, little one garment, it kind of tells you everything, doesn't it, about his situation?
It really does. The poverty is just stark.
Totally stark. The texts are very direct. He and his wife literally had one lower garment, like a dhoti or sarong, and one outer garment, like a shawl or cloak, between them.
One set for two people. It's hard to wrap your head around. How did that even work day to day?
Well, it basically dictated their entire lives. They couldn't go out together, ever.
Right.
If one of them needed to leave the house, say, to get food or something, they wore the clothes. The other person just had to stay home.
Wow. Just completely limited by this single set of clothes.
So yeah, picture that life, having to wait your turn just to go outside. Then imagine an announcement goes out, the Buddha is giving a Dharma talk at the monastery.
A huge deal. A really precious opportunity for them.
Absolutely. A chance to hear this profound wisdom. But boom, immediately, that single garment is the problem.
The practical hurdle.
Exactly. So the wife goes during the day. Makes sense. Maybe warmer. More happening then.
Which leaves Cūḷekasāṭaka waiting all day. Then finally, when it gets dark, it's his turn. He puts on the garment, goes to the monastery, finds a spot in front of the Buddha, and just starts listening.
And this is where it gets really interesting. Something happens inside him while he's listening. The texts describe this powerful feeling, a five-color joy that just arises and fills his whole body.
Five-color joy. What do you think that represents? Like intense bliss?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it, like an overwhelming, vibrant, spiritual kind of rapture washing over him as he really connects with the teaching.
Okay, so he's feeling this incredible thing, and it sparks an impulse, right? A good one.
Instantly. He wants to make an offering to the Buddha. Right there, right then. But the only thing he has to offer
is the outer garment he's wearing, the shared one.
Exactly. And this sets up the whole internal drama. The thought hits him. Wait, if I give this away, neither my wife nor I will have any outer garment. Practical reality crashes right into that spiritual urge.
And the texts really zoom in on this battle inside his head. It says 1,000 thoughts of stinginess. The Pali word is machera, just bubble up.
1,000. All these thoughts of holding back, clinging, worrying.
And they're described as like binding and holding him, actively fighting against that one single thought of faith, saddha, that made him want to give in the first place.
And this wasn't quick. He's sitting there agonizing, should I give it, shouldn't I give it, all through the first watch of the night.
Which is like, what, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. maybe?
Roughly, yeah. And then it continues into the middle watch, too, so maybe 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. He spends hours, basically 2/3 of the night, just wrestling with himself.
Man. It really shows how hesitation can just let those negative thoughts dig in, doesn't it?
Totally. He's been fighting this internal war for hours, watching that initial good impulse just kind of fade as time ticks by. So what happens? What finally shifts in that last watch of the night towards dawn?
Well, there's this breakthrough, a moment of clarity, you could say. He realizes, wow, 2 whole watches have gone by just fighting this stinginess.
He sees the cost of the delay.
Exactly. And he recognizes how dangerous this machera, this clinging, actually is. He sees that letting it grow could literally stop him from escaping the 4 lower realms.
The 4 lower realms, right? In Buddhist thinking, those are really unpleasant states of rebirth, the animal realms, hell realms, places of suffering.
So he saw this internal fight over a piece of cloth as having potentially huge consequences for his spiritual future.
That's precisely it. He grasps the karmic weight of cultivating stinginess. And that understanding, that fear of the consequence, gives him the final push he needs.
His mind becomes clear. I will give the garments.
No more hesitation. He just acts.
Wow.
He pushes past those 1,000 stingy thoughts, puts his faith right up front, takes off the garment.
And places it right there at the Buddha's feet.
And in that moment, having finally conquered himself, he lets out this shout. The texts say he yells, I have won, 3 times.
Which is so powerful because the victory wasn't over anything outside him.
No, not at all. It was purely internal. He beat his own stinginess. That was the battle, and that was the victory.
Okay, so this shout doesn't go unnoticed. There's someone else important there.
Right. King Pasenadi of Kosala. He's also in the audience, listening to the Dharma talk. He hears this guy yell out, I've won.
Naturally, he's curious. Like, won what?
Exactly. So he sends an attendant over. Go ask that Brahmin what battle he just won.
And Cūḷekasāṭaka explains the whole thing, the internal struggle, the victory over his own mind, over the Machera.
And when the king hears this, he's just blown away. He gets it. He understands how incredibly hard it must have been for this man, who had almost nothing, to give away that one essential thing.
He really recognizes the depth of the act.
Yeah. And he decides, right on the spot, he wants to honor this. So he gives the Brahmin a reward, a pair of garments. 1 set.
But what does Cūḷekasāṭaka do? This is amazing.
Right. He takes the king's gift and immediately turns around and offers that to the Buddha too.
Huh. Incredible. Which just impresses the king even more, I bet.
Totally. It prompts it, like escalating generosity from the king. He sees the Brahmin give away the first gift, so he doubles it, gives him 2 pairs.
Which Cūḷekasāṭaka then also gives to the Buddha.
So the king gives 4 pairs,
Yeah.
same result, then 8, then 16 pairs.
And every single time, the Brahmin offers them straight to the Tathagata.
So finally, the king offers 32 pairs of garments. Now here, the text adds a nice little detail.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
To avoid people gossiping, saying, oh, this guy's just foolishly giving away everything he gets, Cūḷekasāṭaka does something practical this time.
Okay.
He accepts the 32 pairs, takes 2, 1 for himself, finally, and 1 for his wife.
Right, their basic need met.
Exactly. And then he gives the remaining 30 pairs to the Buddha. The commentary even compares him to the earlier Mahikasaka, who apparently took 2 pairs out of 64 he received. It shows he wasn't being reckless, just overwhelmingly generous after meeting his basic need.
Even after all that, 7 times giving away the gifts, the king still wanted to give more.
Oh yeah, the king's not done. He goes big now. He orders 2 extremely valuable blankets brought from the palace.
How valuable are we talking?
The sources say each one was worth 100,000 kapanas, which was a lot of money back then. Think like a significant gold or silver coin. These were like royal-level precious items.
Wow. Okay, so he gives these 2 priceless blankets to Cūḷekasāṭaka.
And again, you see the Brahmin's mindset. He thinks these are way too fancy for me. They're only suitable for the Buddha's dispensation, the sasana.
He sees them as belonging in a sacred context.
Precisely. So he doesn't wear them or hoard them. He uses one as a canopy, like hangs it reverently over the Buddha's own couch where he sits.
Nice. And the other one?
The other one he takes home, but uses it as a canopy there too, specifically over the spot where a resident monk would sit when receiving food. So still dedicated to the Sangha.
So later that evening, the king goes to visit the Buddha, and he sees the blanket.
Yep, sees the fancy blanket being used as a canopy over the Buddha's seat, and he recognizes it immediately. He asks, who made this incredible offering?
And the Buddha tells him.
It was the one-garment Brahmin.
The king's reaction is interesting, isn't it? He thinks something like, wow, this Brahmin is showing devotion right here in the place I showed devotion.
Yeah, it seems to deepen his respect even more. Like, this guy is operating on the same level of deep reverence.
And this leads to the king's final, truly mind-boggling gift.
The grand finale.
Yeah.
It's called the complete fourfold gift, the Sabakatuka.
And the list is kind of wild. What does it include?
It's quite the list, yeah. It shows the sheer scale. 4 elephants, 4 horses, 4,000 kahapanas. So, actual cash this time. 4 women, probably attendants or skilled workers, 4 female slaves, 4 male laborers, and the revenue from 4 entire villages.
Whoa. That's not just a gift. That's like setting him up for life multiple times over. An unbelievable fortune.
Absolutely. All stemming from that one act of giving away his only shared cloak just hours before.
So this whole chain of events, from having literally one shared garment to getting this immense fortune in less than a day, it must have caused quite a stir.
Oh, for sure. The texts say the monks were all talking about it later, just buzzing. Like, did you hear about Kikasaka? Incredible deed. And they were marveling at how fast and huge the reward was.
Yeah, they specifically noted it was given just today and happened in the field of merit.
Right, the field of merit. That's a common term for the Buddha and the Sangha, the monastic community.
Right.
It's seen as the most fertile ground for generosity, where good deeds bring the greatest results.
So the Buddha comes along while they're discussing this.
Yep. He asks them, what are you all so engrossed in talking about? They tell him the story, and he uses it as a perfect teaching moment.
This is where we get the core lesson, right? About the timing.
Exactly. The Buddha connects the dots very clearly. He explains that the timing of Kikasaka's offering directly influenced the size of the immediate reward.
How so?
He says, look, if the Brahmin had managed to overcome his stinginess and give the garment back in the first watch of the night, right when the generous impulse first arose, he would have received the complete 16-fold gift, which is 4 times what he actually got.
Wow. Okay.
If he'd given it in the middle watch, after struggling for a while but still getting there sooner, he'd have received the complete 8-fold gift, twice what he got.
But because he waited, fought with himself for hours, and only managed to give it on the last watch, just before dawn.
Yeah.
He received the complete 4-fold gift. Still incredible, obviously, but significantly less than it could have been. The reward literally decreased the longer he delayed. So what's the fundamental principle the Buddha wants us all to grasp from this?
It's crystal clear. When a thought to do a good deed, a Cūḷekasāṭaka, as the Pali term, arises in your mind, you must do it immediately.
Immediately, like right then.
Right then. The Pali is takanyeva, at that very moment. Don't let that positive thought, that good impulse, just drift away or get pushed aside.
And the reason for acting immediately is crucial too, isn't it? It's not just about maximizing rewards.
No, it's much deeper than that. The Buddha explains why speed matters. Firstly, yes, good deeds done slowly, the word is dandhad, tend to bring their results more slowly too.
Okay, that makes sense.
But more importantly, delaying a good action actually opens the door for negative states of mind, like the stinginess, the machera, that Cūḷekasāṭaka fault. Or maybe for us, it's laziness, doubt, fear, procrastination.
Right. If you're not actively choosing the good, the mind kind of defaults elsewhere.
Exactly. He says the mind of someone who is slow or hesitant in doing meritorious deeds actually starts to delight in evil or negativity. It finds opportunity there.
He sums this up in a verse, doesn't he? A famous one.
He does. He goes, Avitareta kalya, papachitan nivaraya, tanhani keroto punya, papasmira matimano.
And the meaning is basically,
hurry to do good, restrain the mind from evil. For truly, the mind of one who does merit slowly delights in evil. It's incredibly direct.
hurry to do good. That's striking.
Yeah, and the commentary gives these vivid examples, like a layperson literally rushing to be the first one to offer food to the monks in the morning, or a monk eagerly jumping to do their duties for their teacher, thinking, me first, me first.
Not out of ego, but
Out of genuine eagerness not to miss the opportunity for positive action, to make sure they seize that moment to do good before hesitation or someone else gets there, It keeps the mind actively pointed towards the positive.
it really hammers it home. Delaying isn't neutral. It's actively creating space for the negative stuff to creep in and take hold.
So yeah, that's the amazing story of Cūḷekasāṭaka and the Buddha's very pointed teaching. How does this land for you listening today, this ancient story about a robe and a king?
Well, what really hits me is just how universal that internal battle feels. Okay, maybe we're not agonizing over our literal only piece of clothing.
Probably not, no.
But how many times a day do we get that little flicker?
Yeah.
That thought, oh, I should call my friend, or I could help out with that, or I should really start that project, or even just I should say something kind.
All the time, those little nudges.
And then what happens? The hesitation kicks in. I'll do it later. Or the doubt. Is it really worth it? Will it make a difference? Or the excuse, I'm too busy right now. Or just inertia. We just don't do it.
That's our modern version of Kikasaka's struggle, isn't it? That shall I, shan't I wrestling match.
Totally. And that delay, that putting it off, just like him waiting through the watches of the night, it gives oxygen to our own kinds of stinginess.
Yeah, stinginess with our time maybe, or our energy, our focus, our comfort zone, even just our attention. The story makes it so clear that waiting isn't just passive. It actually allows the mind to drift, maybe even lean towards the easier, less positive path.
So this deep dive, it feels like it offers this really potent, really practical instruction straight from the source material. When that good idea, that positive impulse pops into your head.
Act.
Yeah, act on it. Don't get bogged down in debating it forever. Grab the opportunity right when it shows up, because that's when the energy is there, right? Before your inner critic or your laziness or your doubt talks you out of it.
And it's not just about, getting rewards like Cūḷekasāṭaka did. It's about actively training your mind. Every time you act quickly on a good impulse, you strengthen that positive pathway.
And you kind of starve the negative ones, the ones that thrive on hesitation.
Exactly. It's a mental fitness thing almost.
It's like a call to just be more aware of those fleeting moments of positive intention during the day and to actually honor them with action, not just let them flow by.
Right. So maybe as you go about your day after listening to it, here's something to think about. If acting immediately on a good thought really does bring better results faster, and more importantly, if delaying lets negativity take root.
Yeah.
What good impulse, what little nudge towards doing good might you be holding back right now? What are you delaying?